Good morning สวัสดีครับ Television Pool of Thailand welcomes you to the live transmission of the Royal Ploughing Ceremony to be held in Sanam Luang Ceremonial Ground, Bangkok. His Majesty King Mahawachiralongkorn พระวชิรเกล้าเจ้าอยู่หัว will preside over this significant event, which together with the Royal Cultivating Ceremony is aimed at bringing about propitiousness to the nation's crops. The Royal Cultivating Ceremony and the Royal Ploughing Ceremony are annual events that boost farmers' morale as well as heralding the start of the rice growing season. For people in Thailand, you can watch this program narrated in English if your television set has a dual language system or on the Thai TV Global Network or TGN channel and NBT World channel and Facebook. Your narrator is Captain Dr. Yongyut Mayalab. The Royal Ploughing Ceremony Day has existed for a long time to give moral support to rice farmers and to predict weather conditions and rice yields to be rolled out in the approaching harvest season. The annual ploughing ceremony usually takes place in May every year at Sanam Luang near the Grand Palace in Bangkok. The ceremony has been performed since ancient times and designed to give an auspicious beginning to the new planting season. In fact, the ploughing ceremony is of Brahmin origin and it was practiced even before the birth of Lord Buddha, who then, as a prince, used to take part in the ceremony. The auspicious day and time are to be set by the royal Brahmin astrologers during the reign of King Rama IX. Although their majesties were present at the ceremony, the king no longer took the leading role. His Majesty King Bhumibol Adulyadej the Great or the late King Rama IX appointed the Lord of Ploughing as his representation to carry out the rites. During this colorful ceremony, the amount of rainfall to be expected in the coming season is forecast. The Lord of Ploughing is offered a choice of 3 lengths of cloth, all looking identical. If his choice is the longest one, there will be little rain during the coming year. If it is the shortest one, rain will be plentiful, while the one of medium length indicates average rain. After donning the piece of cloth called panung, the ploughing lord then ploughs furrows in Sanam Luang with a sacred plough of red and gold drawn by sacred white bulls, and followed by 4 consecrated ladies who carry gold and silver baskets filled with rice seeds. Walking alongside the plough are Brahmins who are chanting and blowing conch shells. When the ploughing is finished, the bulls are presented with 7 different foods and drink. They are rice seeds, beans, maize, hays, sesame seed, water, and alcoholic liquor. What the bulls choose to eat or drink, it is forecast that this will be plentiful during the year. We're now bringing you the recorded videotapes of yesterday's event, the day of the cultivating ceremony held at 5 p.m. of Thursday, May the 12th at the Temple of the Emerald Buddha inside the Grand Palace. His Majesty King Rama X graciously presided over the ceremony, accompanied by Her Majesty Queen Suthida Pachara Sutha Pimonlak. When they entered the main chapel, His Majesty lighted candles and incense as a gesture of paying respect to the Emerald Buddha or พระพุทธมหามณีรัตนปฏิมากร พระคันธานราช or the Buddha images that bring about rainfall, and other important Buddha images in the hall. The highest ranking dignitary belonging to the royal chapter of monks being present in the royal ceremony presented the Buddhist precepts. His Majesty the King then sprinkled lustre water over the พระพุทธปฏิมาชัยวัตร Buddha image of the reign of King Rama IX, various พระคันธานราช Buddha images of the reigns of past monarchs, and also พระคันธานราช Buddha image of the reign of King Rama X. The Prakantanrat Buddha images were made at different times of the history of Thailand. For example, the major Prakantanrat Buddha image in the sitting position, the 2 Chinese-style Prakantanrat Buddha images, one in the sitting position and the other in the standing position. His Majesty the King sprinkled lustre water over the rice seeds to be used during the royal ploughing ceremony and scattered flowers over and offered garlands to the Buddha images to pay homage to them. พระมหาราชครูพิธีศรีวิสุทธิคุณ the chief Brahmin read the proclamation on the cultivating ceremony which sought to bring propitiousness to the crops. Then His Majesty the King poured water from a conch shell over the hands of Mr. Thongpleo Kongchan, Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Agriculture and Cooperatives. His Majesty presented pale leaves to Mr. Tongpleo and anointed his forehead as marks of royal blessing and auspiciousness to the Lord of Ploughing, or พระยาแรกนา After that, His Majesty the King conferred the 9 gem rings and the royal gourd to พระยาแรกนา or Mr. Tongpleo Gongjan. His Majesty the King poured water from a conch shell in the hands of the 4 celestial maidens or the 4 tapis, presented pale leaves to them, and anointed their foreheads as marks of royal blessing and auspiciousness to them. At the same time, the congregation of monks chanted prayers, officials blew conch shells and flutes, and played a number of other Thai traditional musical instruments to mark the significance of the occasion. His Majesty the King then presented the 4 necessities of life to the Buddhist monks participating in the ceremony, namely food, raiment or clothing, abode, and medicine. The monks then gave blessing to the people who attended the religious ceremony. They chanted special blessings for His Majesty the King and Her Majesty the Queen and bid farewell. His Majesty the King then departed from the temple of the Emerald Buddha. And that was yesterday's event. Took place at the temple of the Emerald Buddha in the evening, the royal cultivating ceremony. Later that evening, พระยาแรกนา and the tapis left for the back of the ceremonial pavilion in Sanam Luang, where we are seeing the picture right now. This is where the ceremonial bulls were located. And yesterday, the พระยาแรกนา washed his hands in the bowl and the water and later fed to the ceremonial bulls. Then พระยาแรกนา and tapis spent time with the ceremonial bulls in preparation for today. As for this morning at 7:19 a.m., Mr. Tongpleo Gongjan, the Permanent Secretary of Ministry of Agriculture and Cooperatives, the Lord of the Royal Ploughing Ceremony, accompanied by the 4 tapis, traveled by a royal motorcade from the temple of the Emerald Buddha within the Grand Palace to the ceremonial ground within the Sanam Luang area. Once he arrived here, he was led by a procession of honor and proceeded to the Brahmin ceremonial pavilion to pay homage to important images of the Hindu gods and make his wishes. After having made his wish, he would then make his choice of cloth to be used during the ceremony. This is a rite performed by พระยาแรกนา or the Lord of the Royal Ploughing Ceremony to predict the amount of rainfall during the coming season, as I have mentioned early on. By selecting one of the 3 pieces of cloth, and these are in different lengths, namely 4 kub, 5 kub, and 6 kub. Kub is a Thai unit of linear measurement from the tip of the thumb to the tip of the middle finger when the hand is fully spread out. And depending on the selection, the predictions are as follows. If the shortest one, 4 kub, is chosen, it denotes that the rainfall will be abundant. Paddy in the upland areas will be plentiful, but paddy in the lowland areas may suffer some damages. If the medium one, 5 kub, is picked, the rainfall will be average, rice will be abundant, fruits and animal meat will be bountiful. If the longest one, 6 kub, is selected, it means that the rainfall will be very little. Paddy in the lowland areas will be plentiful, but paddy in the upland areas may suffer some damages. The piece of cloth that was selected is to be worn by พระยาแรกนา on top the costume he has already put on. So his costume is now in readiness as a high-ranking official designated to carry out the ploughing for the significant and traditional ceremony. His Majesty the King will graciously preside over the royal ploughing ceremony, and he will arrive very soon. The auspicious time, which has been designated to be between 8:19 to 8:49 hours Thai time after the arrival of His Majesty the King. The time in Thailand is 7 hours ahead of the Greenwich Mean Time. So after His Majesty the King's arrival, พระยาแรกนา together with his entourage will leave the ceremonial pavilion in procession, accompanied by members of the Royal Institute and the 4 celestial maidens in order to start the royal ploughing ceremony. พระยาแรกนา will stop in front of the royal pavilion and will pay salutation to His Majesty the King. He will then proceed to the ploughing area. A pair of ceremonial bulls is yoked to a plough handle, and พระยาแรกนา anoints their heads and the handle as a mark of auspiciousness. He then takes the hand of the plough and begins to plough 3 concentric furrows and 3 crosswise furrows, and at the same time scatters the rice seeds from the baskets carried by the tepi or the celestial maidens. The 3 concentric furrows are to turn the soil into clumps, 3 crosswise furrows are to break the soil clumps, into finer pieces in readiness for sowing of the seeds, while the Lord of the Ploughing scatters the crop seeds from the baskets. The official sound victory gongs and the Thai traditional orchestra plays an auspicious tune. After that, Priya Ragna plows 3 more rounds to cover the seeds. When the ploughing's over, the bull are unyoked. Priya Ragna and the tapis then return to the Brahmin pavilion. In the meantime, the ceremonial bulls are then presented with 7 different types of food and drink, namely rice seeds, mung beans, maize, hays, sesame seeds, water, and rice liquor. And depending on what the bulls eat, the prediction is as follows. If the ceremonial bulls eat rice seeds or maize, that may be predicted that cereals and fruits would be bountiful. If they eat mung beans or sesame seeds, that may mean that fruits and food would be plentiful in the kingdom. If they eat haze or water, or drink water, the rainfall will be predicted to be average. Cereals, fruits, food, and animal meat will be abundant. If they consume rice liquor, that will be predicted that transportation will improve, foreign trade will grow, and the economy will prosper. And once the ceremonial bulls have made their choices, the royal astrologer will make the prediction. That will be followed afterwards by the presentation of awards to outstanding agriculturists. And His Majesty the King will present plaques of honor to outstanding national agriculturists in various fields, representatives of outstanding agricultural institutes, outstanding national cooperatives in various fields, and other distinguished individuals. And after that, the Lord of the Ploughing will then be ceremoniously paraded out of the ceremonial pavilion, and he will proceed to his royal motorcade accompanied by the 4 celestial maidens. They will then travel to the Chitlada Palace, His Majesty the late King Rama IX's royal residence, to await the arrival of His Majesty the King at the experimental farming plot in the Chitlada Garden Royal Project. And after the departure, His Majesty the King will leave Sanam Luang ceremonial ground by the royal motorcade to the Chitlada Palace. Once he arrived there, Priya Ragna, or the Lord of Ploughing, will request permission to scatter the rice seeds in the experimental plot for the use in next year's royal ploughing ceremony. And that will be the end of the royal ploughing ceremony of this morning. After the royal ploughing ceremony is completed within the area of Sanam Luang ceremonial ground, people who have been gathering since early morning to witness the event will burst onto the field and pick up the sacred rice seeds to take home and mix them with their rice seeds for auspiciousness or to keep as their luck charms. Since 1966, the Cabinet declared Ploughing Ceremony Day as the annual Agriculturist Day. This is to make agriculturists aware of the importance of agriculture and to remind them to take part in the ceremony to bring about good luck and wealth for themselves and the country as a whole. Since then, the Agriculturist Day has been observed together with the rice grains blessing and ploughing ceremony. The royal motorcade of His Majesty the King has now arrived at the Sanam Luang ceremonial ground. His Majesty the King is accompanied by Her Majesty Queen Suthida Pachara Sutha Pimol Lak, and Her Royal Highness Princess พัชรกิติยาภานเรนทิราเทพยวดีกรมหลวงราชสารินีสิริพัฒน์มหาวชิรราชธิดา Their Majesties and Her Royal Highness are now approaching the Royal Pavilion. In a moment, the royal ploughing ceremony will begin according to the auspicious time. The royal ploughing ceremony and the royal cultivating ceremony that took place yesterday. There are two ceremonies that are related to each other. The cultivating ceremony is a religious rite conducted by a congregation of honorific monks on the first day of the royal ceremonies and is held at the ordination hall of the Temple of the Emerald Buddha or Wat Phra Sri Ratana Sasadarām. The royal ploughing ceremony is a Brahmin ceremony to be carried out the next day, which is today, at the Sanam Luang Ceremonial Ground. Now, the auspicious time has arrived. พระยาแรกนา or the Lord of the Royal Ploughing Ceremony, together with his entourage, has left the ceremony pavilion in procession, accompanied by members of the Royal Institute and the four celestial maidens, in order to start the Royal Ploughing Ceremony. The two royal ceremonies that I mentioned are related to each other. They aim at bringing about propitiousness to the nation's crops, boosting farmers' morale, as well as heralding the start of the rice growing season. In addition, these ceremonies provide foreigners with an opportunity to appreciate the country's fine culture and traditions. These annual events had been observed until 1936, but was temporarily suspended after that. The cultivating ceremony and the ploughing ceremony were revived in 1947 and 1960, respectively, and have been held together since then. Priya Ragna, the Lord of the Royal Ploughing Ceremony, is paying salutation to His Majesty the King and Her Majesty the Queen. A very Thai traditional way of paying respect to the monarch. After the presentation of salutation to His Majesty the King and Her Majesty the Queen, Priya Ragna will then proceed to the ploughing area. The ceremonial bulls, a pair of ceremonial bulls, will soon be yoked to a plough handle. As for the ceremonial bulls being used during this significant event of the year 2022, the two actual ceremonial bulls are พระโคพอ and พระโคเพิ่ม พระโคพอ and พระโคเพียง พระโคพอ is of 165 centimeters in height and 225 centimeters in length. His chest circumference is 214 centimeters. He is 10 years old. And พระโคเพียง is of 169 centimeters in height and 238 centimeters in length. His chest circumference is 209 centimeters. He is 10 years old. These are the two actual ceremonial bulls. The reserve ceremonial bulls of this royal ploughing ceremony of the year 2022 are พระครูเพิ่ม and พระครูพูน The two pairs of ceremonial bulls, they are of Khao Lampoon breed. Their skin is pinkish white with clean white hair. There is neither blemish nor other color on the body. The legs are white, with the body being similar to a candle trunk. Both horns beautifully curved, with bright light brown eyes, pink eyelashes, and white hooves. The tail hair is long and white. The rear part of the body at the level of their hind legs and hooves is strong, looking elegant while standing and walking. So these are various accompaniments of the royal ploughing ceremony. The plough handle to be used in the royal cultivating and ploughing ceremony presented to His Majesty the King was carved in 1996 by a group of agriculturists who reared milk cows in Potharam district, Ratchaburi province. The plough handle was made from myrobalan tree and consists of the handle of 2.26 meters in height, measuring from the ground to the head of the naga, and 6.59 meters in length from the head of the naga to the end of the plough. It is painted red throughout. The head of the plough is carved into the figure of naga and is gold-plated. The handle is decorated in a pattern and gold-plated throughout. The end of the plough is covered with a white cloth with gold trim for handling. The second part is the yoke. This is of 1.45 meters with the figure of a Garuda adorning the middle of the yoke, made in brass and gold-plated on a lotus base. The end of the yoke on both sides is carved into the figure of a great naga or serpent, and the figure is gold-plated. The yoke is carved into a pattern and gold-plated throughout the body. The ends of the yoke on both sides have areas carved for attachment to the ceremony bulls with rope. The third part is the supporting base, which is used to support the plough handle and the yoke. This is made from red painted hardwoods with gold-plated decorative patterns at the head and end of the plough. You have seen earlier on, there's also the victory flag accompanying the royal ploughing equipment, and this victory flag is placed at the head of the naga at the plough handle, made of paper and cloth with pattern written on it. This is gold-plated and decorated with reflecting mirrors. It has white plume attached at the top of the flagpole as an item of honor. The victory flag is triangular shape with a base of 41 centimeters, the height of 50 centimeters, and the flagpole is 72 centimeters high. So the Lord of the Royal Ploughing Ceremony is taking the handle of the plough and has begun to plough 3 concentric furrows and 3 crosswise furrows, and at the same time scatters the rice seeds from the baskets carried by the tapis or celestial maidens. The 3 concentric furrows are to turn the soil into clumps. 3 crosswise furrows are to break the soil clumps into finer pieces in readiness for sowing of the seeds. While the Lord of the Ploughing scatters the crop seeds from the baskets, the officials sound victory gongs and the Thai traditional orchestra plays an auspicious tune. So after those 2 sets of the 3 rounds of ploughing will be followed by 3 more rounds to cover the seeds. As for the Lord of the Royal Ploughing Ceremony, he is Mr. Thongpleo Chan, Permanent Secretary of Ministry of Agriculture and Cooperatives. He is 60 years old. He is graduated with a Bachelor of Science degree in Engineering from the College of Technology and Vocational Education, presently known as the Rajamankala University of Technology. He received a master's degree in engineering, major in irrigation engineering from Kasetsart University, and a doctorate degree in engineering, major in irrigation engineering from Kasetsart University. He became a government official in the Department of Irrigation, Ministry of Agriculture and Cooperatives in 1982, and held various positions in Department of Irrigation and became the Deputy Director General of the Irrigation Department in 2016. He was appointed the Director General of the Irrigation Department in 2017 and the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Agriculture and Cooperatives on the 1st of October 2020. As for the 4 celestial maidens bearing the gold and silver baskets, 2 celestial maidens bearing the gold baskets are Miss Natchaya Sri Suksawat and Miss Atitya Thong Kam Keo. Miss Natchaya Sri Suksawat is now holding the position of Land Reform Special Expert of the Agricultural Land Reform Office, and Miss Atitya Thong Kam Keo is working as Agriculture Expert at the Department of Agricultural Promotion. 2 celestial maidens bearing the silver baskets are Miss Kanyarat Sawet Nantikun and Miss Chontisha Thong'on. Miss Kanyarat Sawet Nantikun presently is holding the Human Resource Special Expert of the Office of the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Agriculture and Cooperatives. Miss Chontisha Thong'on is presently holding the position of Veterinary Expert, the Department of Livestock. The ceremonial bulls, according to Brahmin religion, means the angel who serves as a vehicle for Praisuan, comparable to strength and labor utilization, and also means a pet that was looked after by Prakisana and Prapolatep, comparable to the abundance of agricultural produce. Thus, for the royal ploughing ceremony, male bulls had always been chosen to take part since the reign of King Rama I to represent the strength and propitiousness. The Ministry of Agriculture and Cooperatives designates the Department of Livestock to be the authority in selecting bulls to be used in the royal ploughing ceremony. This is carried out by Ratchaburi Center for Artificial Insemination and Biotechnology, the Office of the Livestock Biotechnology Production, Department of Livestock, according to appropriate selection criteria. The bull must have good appearance, fit and healthy, of no less than 150 centimeters in height, no less than 120 centimeters in length, and chest circumference of not less than 180 centimeters. Both ceremonial bulls must have same skin color, with good skin, shiny hair, with good conduct, easy to train, and not vicious. The horns must be nicely and equally curved, with bright eyes, unblemished ears, long beautiful tails, and strong hooves. Looking at the side of the body, it should appear rectangular in shape. And as I have mentioned, pairs of bull have been selected, 2 pairs. The first pair is the actual ceremonial bull. They are Prakopa and Prakopia, as you see in the picture now. And there are also reserved ceremonial bulls, Prakoperm and Prakopoon. As for Prakopa, Mr. Somchai Damthamit donated his own money to buy Prakopa, which is one of today's ceremonial bulls. And then Mr. Somchai passed the bull on to the Department of Livestock to be humbly presented to His Majesty the late King Rama IX. The bull is designated as an actual ceremonial bull for today's event. As for the other actual ceremonial bull of today's event, Prakopiang, Mr. Akom Wattanagun donated his own money to buy the bull and pass him on to the Department of Livestock Development to be humbly presented to His Majesty the late King Rama IX. For the 2 ceremonial bulls in reserve, Prakoperm and Prakopoon, Mr. Trisadi Chao Sun Jaran, former Director General of the Department of Livestock Development, donated his own money in buying Prakoperm and gave him to the Department of Livestock Development to be humbly presented to His Majesty the late King Rama IX. And Mr. Vijan Pukpiboon donated his own money to buy Prakopoon and gave him to the Department of Livestock Development to be humbly presented to His Majesty the late King Rama IX. Khao Lampoon bloodline is the local bloodline for the traditional task and can be found in various districts of Lampoon and Chiang Mai provinces. The bloodline spread to other districts of Lampang, Phayao, and Chiang Rai provinces that are near Lamphun and Chiang Mai. The bulls have distinctive features, namely the large and tall body, white trunk with white tail. Their skin is pink-orange in color with pink-orange nose. The texture of the horn and hoof is of brown-orange color. With such outstanding elegant characteristics, this bloodline had been chosen as that of the ceremonial bull for the royal ploughing ceremony. No one has studied in detail the exact background to the Khao Lamphun bloodline, its place of origin and the date of emergence. It is known that the Animal Husbandry faculty of Chiang Mai University had begun rearing the Khao bloodline since 1978 in place of the foreign beef cattle mixed breeds in order to study and lead the trend towards the conservation and breed adjustment. Khao Lamphun bloodline is a local bull bloodline that resulted from the skill and work of villagers in Lamphun province. The bloodline had gone through development for over 100 years, and the bulls had been popularly reared in Lamphun and Chiang Mai provinces. Some people said that the bloodline resulted from the changing of local bloodline during the era of Queen Jamatevi, who was the first ruler of Haripunchai city over 1,340 years ago. The bulls were the animals befitting the status of governing elites, and they were used for pulling carts. However, Haripunchai was left to ruin during the time when King Meng Rai the Great seized the city, and it was completely deserted when Burmese ruled the area during the second fall of Ayutthaya in 1767. Some European texts mention that the ancestral origin of local bloodline in Southeast Asia ought to be bulls with no hump that were later crossbred with Indian bulls that had humps, since most of the bulls in this region exhibit the features of both European and Indian bulls mixed together. That is to say that they have short wattle, flat forehead and small ears, similar to European bulls, and having humps like those of Indian bulls. Rice strains that are used during this year's ceremony. His Majesty the King graciously granted the rice department to make use of 6 rice strains, totaling 1,728 kilograms of rice seeds for the royal ploughing ceremony. These are regarded as the royally cultivated and royally bestowed rice strains. These are packed into small plastic bags to be distributed as auspicious and propitious items for agricultural occupation in accordance with the popular tradition. The rice seeds, the rice strains being used during the ceremony include the category of lowland rice, namely Dok Mali 105 strain of 245 kilograms, Patum Thani 1 of 399 kilograms, Kok Kho RD 87 of 300 kilograms, Kok Kho 85 or RD 85 of 589 kilograms, Kok Kho 43 or RD 43 of 125 kilograms, and Kok Kho 6 or RD 6 of 70 kilograms. Let me mention about the Dok Mali 105 rice. This is the jasmine flower, white jasmine flower 105 rice strain. This is non-glutinous rice. It was initially obtained by Mr. Sunthorn Sihanen, rice officer, who collected 199 ears of the paddy from Bang Kla district, Chachinchao province between 1950 and 1951. They then were taken through the process of pure line selection and grew for species comparisons at Kok Samro Rice Experimental Station. Later, the strain was cultivated in comparison with those species in the localities of the north, central, and northeast of the country until the variety called Khao Dok Mali or white jasmine flower 42105 was obtained. The number 4 signifies the place where the rice ears were kept, and this was at Bang Kla district. The number 2 represents Khao Dok Mali or of white jasmine flower, which was the second experimental variety, and the number 105 means the 105th row or ear of paddy from the total of 199 ears. The plant, which yields non-glutinous rice, is 140 centimeters high, being photosensitive, and the grain is straw-colored. We just seen just a moment ago to be recipients of the various outstanding awards for farmers and agriculturists. There will be graciously granted audience with His Majesty the King to receive the awards from His Majesty at the end of the ceremony this morning. The Rice Department has introduced 5 new varieties of rice to mark His Majesty King Mahawachiralongkorn Pravachiraklao Chaoyuhua's coronation in 2019. The first variety, Gokor 79 or Chainat 62, was certified on the 21st of February 2019. The rest, Gokor 83, Gokor 62, Medphai 62 and Hom Bai Teu 62 were certified later that year. And they all had an affix of 62 according to the Buddhist era. The year 2019, the year of the coronation ceremony, translate to BE 2562, the year of the king's coronation. The 5 varieties have outstanding characteristics. Some are great for the export market, and some are good for health, and some are highly nutritious. This is the Sanam Luang ceremonial ground, the open field in front of the Grand Palace and the Temple of the Emerald Buddha. Sanam Luang is located in Pranakon district, the historic center of Bangkok. It was officially known as Tung Kramain. Rice is a staple cereal that nurtures the lives of the Thai people and of more than half the world's population. In economic terms, rice is a commodity ensuring prosperity and food security. In agriculture, rice is the second most cultivated cereal in the world after wheat, and more than 90% of the world's production is consumed in Asia. In terms of civilization, rice is fundamental to the culture of many Eastern countries where the word rice and food are synonymous. As Thailand is located in a tropical zone close to the equator, the country has a hot and humid climate, while the south and the east come under tropical monsoon conditions. The variety of local weather conditions and prevalent soil fertility work to widen biological diversity, especially in terms of rice varieties, both cultivated and wild. In Thailand, rice can be compared to a gift from the land that thrives on rain falling from the sky. Going back more than 5,000 years, the ancestors on this land in prehistoric times already knew how to grow rice for food. And later on, as the various kingdoms came along, there was an accumulation of knowledge and local wisdom which were passed on from generation to generation, until there were research and development institutes to teach Thai farmers to choose appropriate cultivation techniques in rice grains. This led Thailand becoming well known for the diversity of rice varieties, numbering in the tens of thousands of both cultivars and wild species. This has allowed the country to be the world leader in rice and dominated the world's rice markets for decades. The life of Thai farmers, tilling paddy fields during planting seasons, requires utmost forbearance and perseverance, and has been practiced for generations. Thai farmers endeavor to produce rice in their paddy fields according to agreed standards. With attention paid in every step of cultivation, consumers are assured of the quality of Thai rice, certain of receiving a healthy product providing wholesome nourishment, and most importantly of its unique, delicious taste. That's information from the book Thai Rice for Life. Throughout numerous visits to rural Thailand by accompanying His Majesty the late King Bhumibol Adulyadej the Great and Her Majesty Queen Sirikit the Queen Mother, His Majesty King Mahawachiralongkorn Prawachiraklaw Chayuhua has been fully aware of hardships numerous Thais have been enduring. Given the commitment to his role as heir to the throne, as well as his kindness for everyone from all walks of life, His Majesty, then the Crown Prince, has been strongly determined to continue his father's legacy. For over 27 consecutive years, royally initiated projects have therefore been established and implemented since His Majesty was still titled as the Crown Prince. With the vision of the country's future, His Majesty's royally initiated projects have covered all areas of development, such as water resources management, improvement of people's well-being and livelihoods, public health care, education, natural resources conservation, and stabilities of the country. Royal Initiative Project on Water Resources Management, showing that His Majesty's royal duties in water resource management have been performed continuously with a strong determination to follow footsteps of His Majesty the late King Rama IX, who always emphasized the importance of water as the main source for people to maintain their way of life and make a living. Throughout numerous visits to rural areas with His Majesty the late King and Her Majesty Queen Sirikit the Queen Mother since he was young, His Majesty the King had witnessed the hardship many people in Thailand have endured and his extensive experience accumulated over the years. He established the first royally initiated project on water resources management in 1991. All these royal initiative projects on water resources management include the reservoirs, the weirs, the gambling or monkey cheek reservoirs, drain pipes, and rotation system. Not only do these projects cover maintenance and improvement of reservoirs, weirs, regulators, drain pipe systems, levees, they also deal with water resource provision for agricultural and household users and integrated development of the areas. So there are numerous royal initiative projects on water resources management spread across all regions of the kingdom. Royal Initiative Development Project located in Nong Ung in Mueang district of Yasothon province. This is an example where the project provides holistic solution to people in 7 villages, and with cooperation from people in 7 villages of Nong Ung areas, this implementation of holistic solutions ranges from water resource improvement, soil improvement, flood relief, products and income increase, career development, and forest and environmental reservation and restoration. Just a moment ago, we saw a number of farmers and agriculturists in their pavilions waiting for the time of the award presentation at the end of the ceremony this morning. The 2022 National Excellent Agriculturist, selected by the Ministry of Agriculture and Cooperatives, will be bestowed awards by His Majesty the King. And these are in a number of categories. For example, the National Excellent Agriculturist, which consists of 16 occupational fields. For example, the rice grower, the orchard farming, the truck farming, mixed farming, sericulture plantation, animal husbandry, freshwater animal breeder, brackish water animal breeder, ornamental fishes breeder and aquatic plants planter, and tree farm planter, for instance. There will also be the National Excellent Agricultural Institute 2022, consisting of 12 groups, being bestowed the outstanding awards by His Majesty the King later today. And also the National Excellent Cooperatives 2022, consisting of 4 cooperatives, namely the Agricultural Cooperative, the Cow's Milk Cooperative, the Saving Cooperative, and the Credit Union Cooperative, outstanding awards. There will be 3 distinguished persons receiving the National Wisdom Philosopher 2022 awards. One awardee who is outstandingly knowledgeable and has brought immense benefits to the Thai agricultural sector is Mr. Anek Si Kio Sot from Mueang Ang Thong province. So he's one of the 3 who will be receiving the prestigious award from His Majesty. The second person is Mr. Supot Singh Tosi from Mueang Ratchaburi district, Ratchaburi province. He'll be awarded in the field of outstanding agricultural practice. The third one is Mr. Sangwan Mongkon Si Panlet from Mueang Krabi district, Krabi province. He's a wisdom philosopher for the category of sufficiency economy. So these are the 3 distinguished individuals who will be awarded with the National Wisdom Philosopher 2022 awards by His Majesty the King later today. ร่วมทำความดีด้วยหัวใจ is a volunteer project that has been founded by His Majesty the King in order to mark celebration of his birthday on the 28th of July 2017 with gracious kindness towards well-being of the people and a strong determination to alleviate hardship and bring happiness, stability and prosperity to the country. Volunteer project ร่วมทำความดีด้วยหัวใจ or doing good thing together with our hearts is a campaign for Thai people to show the spirit of volunteering alongside the Mhatlek Rajawallop or King's Own Bodyguard Regiment, courtiers, royal officials and various government agencies by volunteering themselves for the nationwide social service. In addition, His Majesty graciously advised royal officials, together with government agencies, to provide public and charitable service to the people who are suffering as well as to solve problems for them. In so doing, the officials can become a role model who serve as an example of devotion to public interest, social responsibility, and enhancement of good citizen society. His Majesty's first step has paved the way for everyone to widely start doing good deeds with their hearts from one to another. This has set an example of commitment to public interest with social responsibility awareness that has spread throughout every society in all areas. The royal ploughing ceremony was probably in the old times the right design to remind the farmers and to give an auspicious beginning to the new planting season, especially the rice farming that is the major source of food. The leader or the rulers of the country preside over the ceremony when the planting season begins. Let me go back to the cultivating ceremony that took place yesterday. King Rama I ordered the casting of Prakantan Raj Buddha image in 1783, and the image was in the prostrating position with the right hand raised to the level of the chest in the beckoning gesture, and the left hand placed palm up on his lap as a gesture of receiving water. This Prakantan Raj Buddha image is the center of the royal cultivating ceremony that took place yesterday. The original Prakantan Raj was initially placed in the Grand Palace, and later at the end of King Rama IV's reign, the temple of the Emerald Buddha was renovated and a chapel was also built for enshrining Prakantanrat Buddha image at the corner of the front balcony of the main chapel of the temple. So the Buddha image is involved in the cultivating ceremony and the ceremony to ask for rainfall. The ploughing has now been completed. Altogether, 9 rounds of the ploughing have been carried out. Priya Ragna have led the ploughing ceremony by carrying out the ploughing of the 3 concentric furrows, 3 crosswise furrows, and that followed by the 3rd set where the seeds are covered. Priya Ragna and the Tapis have now returned to the Brahmin pavilion. At this moment, the ceremonial bowls are to be presented with 7 different types of food and drink, namely rice seeds, mung beans, maize, hay, sesame seeds, water and rice liquor. And depending on what the bulls eat, the prediction is as follows. If the ceremonial bulls eat rice seeds or maize, the prediction is that cereals and fruits will be bountiful. If they eat mung beans or sesame seeds, the prediction is that fruits and food will be plentiful. If they consume haze and drink water, the prediction is that rainfall will be average. Cereals, fruits, food, and animal meat will be abundant. If they consume rice liquor, the prediction is that transportation will improve, foreign trade will grow, and the economy will prosper. So in the moment, the choices will be offered to the ceremonial bulls. Early on, before the royal ploughing ceremony began, Priya Ragna, the lord of the royal ploughing ceremony, had made the selection of one of the 3 pieces of cloth to be worn during the ceremony. And these 3 pieces of cloth are in different lengths, although they look identical. They are in the length of 4 kub, 5 kub, and 6 kub. Kub is a Thai unit of linear measurement from the tip of the thumb to the tip of the middle finger when the hand is fully spread out. And depending on the selection, the predictions are as follows. If the shortest one, 4 kub, is chosen, it denotes that the rainfall will be abundant. Paddy in the upland areas will be plentiful, but paddy in the lowland areas may suffer some damages. If the medium one, 5 kub, is picked, the rainfall will be average, rice will be abundant, fruits and animal meat will be bountiful. If the longest one, 6 kub, is selected, it means that the rainfall will be very little. Paddy in the lowland areas will be plentiful, but paddy in the upland areas may suffer some damages. So the ceremonial bulls are now making their choices of the 7 different types of food and drink. And soon the royal astrologer will make the prediction. Yesterday, พระมหาราชครูพิธีศรีวิสุทธิคุณ the chief Brahmin, read the proclamation on the cultivating ceremony, which sought to bring propitiousness to the crops. The proclamation is a religious spell written in Pali language and composed by King Rama IV. It is read in the characteristic Sorapanya rhythm, followed by a prose in Thai language. The content of the prayer consists of 4 topics of wishes. The first part is the prayer to pay tribute to the kindness of Lord Buddha, who relieved suffering with stability in his mind. The Lord Buddha planted the seed of Dharma allow it to grow and prosper, giving benefits to Buddhist followers through history. Even though the world is being engulfed with sinful flame due to human desire, Dhamma, which is everlasting, and His noble truth, which is eternal, continue to grow due to the grace of the Lord Buddha. We have now all paid respect to the Lord Buddha, His Dhamma teaching, and the monks by planting seeds of merit in the Triple Gems. The merit is according to the Triple Gems of Buddhism. The plant is comparable to the merit that we have made. The seed reflects the knowledge that allows the extinguishing of suffering in the world. It can bring about results now and in the future in various ways. May we pray that the seed or the merit that we have sown bring results according to our wishes. May all the rice sprouts and various plant seeds sown in areas throughout the kingdom grow in correct timing without sustaining any damage in any way. The second wish refers to the Lord Buddha's teaching on rice farming that he gave to a Brahmin farmer. The Lord Buddha said that faith and belief are our rice grain that we plant. Tabat, or perseverance, is the raindrop that washes away the sin. Panya, or wisdom, is the knowledge that serves as the yoke and plow. Hiri, or shame, is the handle of the plow. Jai, or mind, serves as the pulling rope. Sati, or consciousness, is the awareness that is comparable to the goal, and that we shall be careful of words and be composed. Mi soraja, or controlling our mind, to be calm and collected, that serves to release the plow. Mi viriya, or diligence. This is comparable to the labor involved in pulling the yoke, a plow that will take one to a happy place that is free from all the attachment, a place where one can go and never have to leave, a place where there is no sorrow.
ข้าพระพุทธเจ้านายสมชวนรัตนมังคลานนท์รองปลัดกระทรวงเกษตรและสหกรณ์ขอพระราชทานพระบรมราชโองการกราบบังคมทูลผลการเสี่ยงทายของภริยาแรกนาเนื่องในงานพระราชพิธีพืชมงคลตรวจพระนางคันแรกนาขวัญประจำปีพุทธศักราช 2565 โหนหลวงได้ให้คำพยากรณ์ว่าพระยาแรกนาเสี่ยงทายผ้าสำหรับนุ่งไปประกอบพิธีตรวจพระนางคันแรกนาขวัญดังนี้เสี่ยงผ้านุ่งปีนี้พยากรณ์ว่าน้ำจะมากสักหน่อยนาในที่ดอนจะได้ผลบริบูรณ์ดีนาในที่ลุ่มอาจจะเสียหายบ้างได้ผลไม่เต็มที่การเสี่ยงทายพระโคกินเลี้ยงปีนี้พระโคกินน้ำหญ้าพยากรณ์ว่าน้ำท่าจะบริบูรณ์พอควรพร้อมด้วยธัญญาหารพลาหารภักษาหารมังสาหารอุดมสมบูรณ์ถั่วพยากรณ์ว่าพลาหารภักษาหารจะอุดมสมบูรณ์ดีเหล้าพยากรณ์ว่าการคมนาคมสะดวกยิ่งขึ้นการค้าขายกับต่างประเทศดีขึ้นทำให้เศรษฐกิจเจริญรุ่งเรืองด้วยเกล้าด้วยกระหม่อมขอเดชะฝ่าละอองธุลีพระบาทปกเกล้ากระหม่อมข้าพระพุทธเจ้านายสมชวนรัตนมังคลานนท์รองปลัดกระทรวงเกษตรและสหกรณ์ขอพระราชทานพระบรมราชวโรกาสกราบบังคมทูลเบิกผู้เข้ารับพระราชทานโล่รางวัลในงานพระราชพิธีพืชมงคลตรวจพระนางคันแรกนาขวัญประจำปีพุทธศักราช 2565 ประกอบด้วยปราชญ์เกษตรของแผ่นดินรวม2ประเภทเกษตรกรดีเด่นแห่งชาติรวม14ประเภทผู้แทนสถาบันเกษตรกรดีเด่นแห่งชาติรวม11ประเภทผู้แทนสหกรณ์ดีเด่นแห่งชาติรวม4สหกรณ์รวมผู้เข้ารับพระราชทานโล่รางวัลปีนี้จำนวน31รายดังมีรายนามต่อไปนี้ปราชญ์เกษตรของแผ่นดินปราชญ์เกษตรเศรษฐกิจพอเพียงได้แก่
Secretary General of the Ministry of Agriculture Cooperatives are now presenting the recipients of the awards who will be bestowed various outstanding awards from His Majesty the King with the National Excellent Agriculturist 2022 For rice grower is Mr. Pat Chayawong from Hang Dong district in Chiang Mai province. Orchard farming is Mr. Wirawat Jirawong from Patil district, Chumphon province. Truck farming is Mr. Rungreung Lai Raksa from Ho Hin district, Prachuap Khiri Khan province. Mixed farming is Mrs. Jirawan Yunnan from Tako district, Chumphon province. Sericulture plantation is Mrs. Nikon Kaewisai from Non Saat district, Udon Thani province. Animal husbandry is Mr. Krieng Sak Seri Rat Yin Yong from Mung Yala district, Yala province. Freshwater animal breeder is Mr. Prawat Piriyasa from Ban Sang district, Prachinburi province. Brackish water animal breeder is Mr. Attapong Bunlertfa from Mung Nakhon Pathom district, Nakhon Pathom province. Ornamental fishes breeder and aquatic plants planter is Mr. Vanlop Wunsut from Nakhon Chaisi district, Nakhon Pathom province. Free farm planter is Mr. Somphon Lojinda from Mung Chiang Rai district, Chiang Rai province. Farm accounting is Mr. Adun Vichian Chai from Khlong Luang district, Pathum Thani province. Agricultural land reform is Mr. Banjong San Yamoon from Kosum Visai district, Mahasarakam province. Good agricultural practice is Mr. Sanun Pratmun from Kiratni Khom district, Surat Thani province. Organic agriculture is Mrs. Sujari Thanasiri Thanakon from Khong Chai district, Kalasin province. Advisor to group of young smart farmers is Ms. Patum Rat Jongkun Klang from Kham Sakare Sang district, Nakhon Ratchasima province. And member of Young Agriculturist Group or Young Smart Farmer is Ms. Ritmun Pan Piriya from Mung District, Drat Province. For National Excellent Agricultural Institutes 2022, Orchard Farming Group is Yang Khom Orchard Farming Group from Pibun District, Nakhon Si Thammarat Province. Livestock Group is Goat and Sheep Breeder Community Enterprise from Mung Phetchabun District, Phetchabun Province. Fishery Group or Aquatic Animal Breeder Group. Sufficiency Agricultural Development Fishes Group from Ban Pha District, Samut Sakhon Province. Process Aquatic Animal Group is the Ban Kham Klang Pickle Fish Community Enterprise from Sirinthorn District, Ubon Ratchathani Province. Agricultural Housewife Group is the Ban Tung Hong Mu Ha Agricultural Housewife Group from Mung Phra District, Phra Province. Young Smart Farmers Group, Ban Buk Kewa School, Young Smart Farmers Group from Prat Thongkham District, Nakhon Ratchasima Province. Rice Seed Production Group is from Takien Ngam Rice Seed Producer Group from Pang Silatong District, Kampang Phet Province. Irrigation Water User Agriculture Institute is from Ban Cham Tarun Water Pipe Delivery System Management Group from Kichakut District, Chanthaburi Province. Community Rice Production and Promotion Center for Hormelic Rice or Fragrant Jasmine Rice is from Buangam Sub-District Community Rice Center from Det Udom District, Ubon Ratchathani Province. Community Rice Production and Promotion Center for other kinds of rice species is from CQ Organic Agriculture Organization Community Rice Center from Sikau District, Nakhon Ratchasima Province, and Community Enterprise is from Vegetable and Fruit Product Development Community Enterprise from Ban Hong District, Lamphun Province. As for National Excellent Cooperatives 2022 consists of 4 cooperatives, namely Agricultural Cooperative, Kut Khao Pan Agricultural Cooperative Limited from Kut Khao Pan District, Ubon Ratchathani Province. Cow's Milk Cooperative is from Lamphun Cow's Milk Cooperative from Ban Thi District, Lamphun Province. Saving Cooperative is from Chayapum Hospital Saving Cooperative from Mung Chayapum District, Chayapum Province. And Credit Union Cooperative is from Leung Hang Samaki Credit Union Cooperative Limited from Kusuman District, Sakonnakhon Province. So a moment ago, the Deputy Secretary General of the Ministry of Agriculture and Cooperatives have presented the prediction on what the ceremonial bulls have eaten. And the ceremonial bulls have chosen water and hay. And this means the prediction is that the rainfall will be average cereals, fruits, food, and animal meat will be abundant. The bulls also choose to eat mung beans. This will mean that fruits and food will be plentiful. And the bulls also consume rice liquor. That means the transportation will improve, foreign trade will grow, and the economy will prosper. As for the selection by the Phraja Ragna of the Lord of the Royal Ploughing Ceremony, he chose the shortest piece of cloth of 4 kyb, and it denotes that the rainfall will be abundant. Paddy in the upland areas will be plentiful, but paddy in the lowland areas may suffer some damages. Those are the predictions made from the selection by the Lord of the Royal Ploughing Ceremony and the selection by the ceremonial bulls. The Lord of the Ploughing is now going to be ceremoniously paraded from the ceremonial pavilion. He will march towards the royal pavilion, where he will give salutation to His Majesty the King and Her Majesty the Queen, and he will then proceed to his motorcade, accompanied by the 4 celestial maidens. They will travel to Jilada Palace, His Majesty the late King Rama IX's royal residence, to await the arrival of His Majesty the King at the experimental farming plot in the Jilada Garden Royal Project. The Lord of the Royal Ploughing Ceremony for this year, 2022, is Mr. Thongpleo Kongchan, Permanent Secretary of Ministry of Agriculture and Cooperatives. He is 60 years old. He has been appointed as the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Agriculture and Cooperatives on the 1st of October 2020. He's graduated with a Bachelor of Science degree in Engineering from the College of Technology and Vocational Education, presently known as the Rajamankala University of Technology. He received a master's degree in engineering, major in irrigation engineering from Kasetsart University, and a doctorate degree in engineering, major in irrigation engineering from Kasetsart University. The Lord of the Royal Ploughing ceremony is being ceremoniously paraded from the ceremony ground. He gave salutation to His Majesty the King and Her Majesty the Queen, and he's now proceeding towards his motorcade, accompanied by the four celestial maidens. They will travel to Jitlada Palace, which is His Majesty the late King Muhammad IX royal residence. There he will wait for the arrival of His Majesty the King at the experimental farming plot in Jitlada Garden Royal Project. The Lord of the Royal Ploughing ceremony is being accompanied by the four celestial maidens. The tapis, two celestial maidens who was carrying the golden baskets during the ceremony. They are Miss Natchaya Sisupsavat and Miss Atitiya Thong Kangkao. The other two celestial maidens who were bearing the same baskets during the ceremony, Miss Kanyarat Sweet Nantikul and Miss Chotisha Thong. certificate of the Lord of the Royal Ploughing Ceremony is now leaving the Sanam Long Ceremony ground, traveling towards the Chilada Palace for the final part of the Royal Ploughing Ceremony. Rice grown on the Chilada Palace grounds, home of His Majesty the late King Bhumibol Adulyadej the Great, is used, sown in the ceremony, and afterwards onlookers will swarm the field to gather the seed, which is believed to be auspicious. Farmers will often mix the grains with their own rice stock, or the grains might be kept as a good luck charm. The Thai rice, regarded as specialty rice for health enthusiasts, apart from the local strains which are unique due to the differences in ecological systems, geographical features, and climates in each region. There are many more Thai rice strains that have been developed through careful research and development. There are new high quality strains that answer to the market demands by opening new alternatives for health lovers, like Khao Hom Mali Dang or red Hom Mali rice from the Hom Mali 105 paddy fields. We are seeing a number of the agriculturists, farmers, fishermen, and so on who receive the awards, the outstanding awards today. So, as I have mentioned early on, a number of agriculturists, agricultural institutes, and cooperatives, as well as agricultural wisdom philosophers, were selected to be graciously bestowed with the awards for this year. For the National Excellent Agriculturist 2020, there are altogether 16 occupational fields, namely rice grower, orchard farming, truck farming, mixed farming, sericulture plantation, livestock, freshwater fisheries, brackish water fisheries, forest plantation, nurturing beautiful fish and water plants, farm accounting, agricultural land reform, good agricultural practice, organic agriculture, and the category of the advisor to group of young smart farmers, and also the category of member of young agriculturist group or young smart farmer. So let me recap on the prediction that was made just early on. For the selection of the food that the ceremonial bulls have eaten early on, they have eaten the mung beans, which the prediction would be fruits and food would be plentiful, and they also consume water and hay, and this means the rainfall will be average, cereals, fruits, food, and animal meat will be abundant. And they also consume the rice liquor, and that would imply transportation will improve, foreign trade will grow, and the economy will prosper. You can see in the picture here the ceremonial bulls, all four of them. Two are the actual bulls that took part in the ceremony today, and the other two are ceremonial bulls in reserve. The Praku Paw and Praku Piang are the two actual ceremonial bulls of this year. Prakupa is 165 centimeters in height, 225 centimeters in length. His chest circumference is 214 centimeters, and he's 10 years old. Prakupiang is of 169 centimeters in height and 238 centimeters in length. His chest circumference is 209 centimeters. He's 10 years old. Khao Lampoon bloodline, which is the bloodline that these four ceremonial bulls belong to, has its own characteristics, namely white color throughout its body, different from white bulls of other bloodlines that have black mouth, noses, ear edges, hooves, horns, and tails. Khao Lampoon bloodline is by no means albino bulls, since its pupils is not pink. As it has a white trunk, the bull can tolerate the heat remarkably. Khao Lampoon bloodline is considered to be cultural and socio-agricultural heritage inherited from Lana ancestors. Therefore, Thais should not overlook the care and attention required in preventing the extinction of the bloodline due to one's lack of knowledge. According to the Brahmin religious teaching, legends mention of an albino Usuparat bull named Pranonti that was regarded as the god of four-legged animals. Pranonti turned himself into a bull for the god Isuan to ride. Due to this long-held belief, Indians do not eat beef, and a large number of bulls and cattle is present in India. Thais inherit the Brahmin belief. Therefore, since the reign of King Rama I of the Chakri dynasty, it was designated that male bulls must participate in this royal ceremony. Let me inform you about the rice being used during the ceremony. We have mentioned about Khao Dok Mali 105 or the white jasmine flower 105 rice strain. The other one being chosen for the ceremony and being distributed to farmers throughout the country is the Patum Thani 1 rice strain. This is non-glutinous rice variety, photo period insensitive variety. Its maturity is reached at about 104th to 126th days. The culm is erect with hairy green leaves and leaf sheath. Plant height of 104 to 133 centimeters. It has a high yield, average yield of about 650 to 774 kilograms per rai. Rai is a Thai measurement of land area, and one rai is equivalent to 0.39 acre. It grows in irrigated area in the central region of the kingdom, and that is the Patum Thani 1 rice strain, which is quite popular. It is a khao jiao, or it's a non-glutinous rice variety. The Committee on the Research and Development, the Department of Agriculture, approved this rice variety on the 30th of May 2000. For more than half of humanity, rice is life. It is the grain that has shaped the history, culture, diet, and economy of billions of people of Asia. Many of them sleep on rice straw, drink rice liquor, and offer rice to their gods. The growth stage of the rice crop marks the passage of time and season. In the languages of China, Japan, and many others, the day begins with morning rice and ends with evening rice. In this part of the world, rice is not just a cereal, it is the root of civilization. This is according to the article Rice, the Grain of Culture, presented by Dr. Kwan Chai A. Gomez. In Thailand, rice is the essence of life. It permeates all aspects of the life of people from all walks of life. Rice is in music, particularly folk songs. It is in various forms of the arts, from poems to paintings to sculptures. It is in tradition, folklore, ritual, and even language. For most of us, life without rice is simply unthinkable. May I mention about one of the specialty rice, which is riceberry rice. These paddies derive from the hybridization of Hom Nin fragrant rice and Khao Dok Mali 105 from the Rice Science Center and Rice Gene Discovery Unit of Nakhon Pathom Province through the cooperation of the National Research Council and Kasetsart University. The grain's color is dark purple, long and round shaped. When cooked, it is tender and fragrant. Riceberry rice cultivation needs special attention. It has a good yield when organically grown, and its pigmentation requires cold weather. It is with high nutritional value, rich in antioxidants such as beta carotene, gamma oryzanol, vitamin E, tannin, as well as zinc and folic acid. Its low to moderate glycemic index means that the starch turns to sugar slowly and that it is beneficial for people suffering from diabetes and obesity. Khao Sin Lek or Sin Lek rice is a variety that derived from the crossing of Hom Nin fragrant rice and Khao Dok Mali 105 rice by Kasetsart University's Rice Science Center at Kamphaeng San, the Ministry of Science and Technology, and the National Research Council. The difference between Sin Lek rice and riceberry is that the former has white grains which once cooked are fragrant and tender. Sin Lek rice has a high iron content. Lek in Thai means iron. It was found that encouraging children with persistent deficiencies in iron to eat Sin Lek rice help increase the hemoglobin level in their red blood cells. Furthermore, Sin Lek rice has a low glycemic index, which means that during digestion, starch turns into sugar slowly. So it is recommended for people suffering from diabetes as well. The Thai rice, the world's finest grain, is packed with varieties of nutrients, such as carbohydrate, protein, and vitamins, and its famous properties of therapeutic nutrition. These benefits are widely recognized by most Thais and Asians who consume rice as their staple food. Now, the trend of rice consumption is spreading to the whole world, together with the trend of healthy diet. Gluten is a kind of protein found in wheat, barley, rye, and oats. It is mostly found in products made from wheat flour, such as bakery, pies, and cakes. An increasing number of people, mostly in the Western world, have developed gluten allergy. Ingesting even a speck of gluten by people with allergy can cause serious intestinal inflammation, flatulence, diarrhea, nausea and vomiting, or numbness in the lips. As Thai rice is gluten-free, it is considered a very good alternative for people having such an allergy. It has come from the book titled Thai Rice for Life by the Ministry of Commerce. His Majesty the King, Her Majesty the Queen, and Her Royal Highness Princess Pacharakitiyapa on their royal motorcade leaving Sanam Luang ceremony airport. You've been watching the live telecast by the Television Pool of Thailand of the Royal Ploughing Ceremony. Your narrator have been Captain Dr. Yongyut Mayalap. Thank you for watching this live telecast. So please join us again from Bangkok, Thailand in the future events. Thank you for watching the program. สวัสดีครับ